At least 16 Islamic nations have strongly criticized India for a controversial remark on Prophet Muhammad made by two former functionaries of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party. While Nupur Sharma, a familiar face on television debates, has been suspended from her position as spokesperson, Naveen Kumar Jindal has been expelled from the BJP. Some countries like the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain went public with their criticism despite having friendly ties with India. What surprised many Indians is that the Ministry of External Affairs, that had strongly rebutted criticism from the United States on the human rights situation in India, took immediate action when Islamic nations complained. Former diplomats say that the prompt Indian response was needed to soothe ruffled feathers.
So at the G2G level, as they say, I think that there has been a satisfactory resolution to some extent. But then there is another dimension to it, and that is at the people-to-people level. Now, as you know, that several of these organizations, and I believe that the Arab Street particularly, or when the Islam question comes, then it is not working under the government. It is more the muftis, the maulanas, their religious outfits who dictate the narrative of that. And that is why sometimes one may witness that certain organizations, certain business groups may be a little more problematic in the sense is that they can create some problems for the community. I mean, that is why it is extremely important for us to be very careful in what kind of statements we make. Look at the West Asia itself. I mean, we have had with great difficulty. Prime Minister Modi has been able to cultivate the relationship. We were able to make the relationship from or convert it from transactional to a truly strategic partnership. They are looking at India. We have been able to wean them away from Pakistan, which was a big no-no until a few years ago. Now, you do not want to squander away all that gains that you have done by a stupid, some kind of a comment.
But there is an irony here, and it was not lost on Indians. The very countries that criticized India don't even pretend to provide equal rights to religious minorities on their own soils. The Pew Research study on religious restrictions around the world between 2007 and 2017 shows that almost all 20 countries in the Middle East ranked high on four parameters: state favoritism towards a single religious group, which is Islam, laws and policies restricting religious freedom, limits on religious activities, and harassment of religious groups. Except for Lebanon and Israel, all countries in the region strongly favor Islam. 16 of them have Islam as the official religion, while two more favor Islam over other religions. Syria and Sudan have Islam as the preferred religion. All countries in the region defer to religious authorities on legal issues. For Islamic countries, this means that all laws must be compliant with the Sharia.
But what I sometimes fail to understand is that they stand for Muslims, they stand for this cause. But what is happening in China? We see that Uyghur Muslims, they are not talking. None of them talks. Then they say we bilaterally talk to China. So this is also some kind of a double standards that we see. If something happens in a democracy like India, where everybody has the freedom to speak what they want, they should be controlled a little bit. But at the same time, then they are, they will try to tie you down to that. I think that we are not living in a perfect world.
Not only do these Islamic countries favor their own religion, most of them actively discriminate against followers of other religions. In Saudi Arabia, where the king is considered to be the custodian of Islam's two holiest shrines, the public practice of any other religion is prohibited. No places of worship other than mosques can be constructed. Worshipping of idols, even in the confines of your residence, can be punished if someone complains.
I would say that there is no doubt there are Islamic countries, they don't pretend to be secular, they don't pretend to promote other religions, and you know how the Islamic countries are. But at the same time, When we have 8 million Indians there, a very large number of them are non-Muslim, and they are not treated differently in those countries. They are being equal respect. There is a tremendous respect for India. Their connect with India is very different. So in their own countries, of course, Islam and their whatever value systems they promote.
In Qatar, too, non Abrahamic faiths like Hinduism can be practiced only in private. While Islam is the state religion, Christianity and Judaism are also recognized to some extent. The law restricts public worship for non Islamic faiths. Qatar has been accused of especially persecuting the Baha'i community. During his recent visit, Vice President Venkaiah Naidu requested Qatar to allow the construction of temples and cremation grounds. Hindus form 15.4% of the population in Qatar, but not being allowed to have cremation grounds means that people have to either bury their dead or bring back bodies to India for cremation. In Iran, not only non-Muslims, but even followers of Islamic subsects like Sufis face discrimination and harassment. Hindus and Sikhs can't pray in public nor be seen with religious symbols. In Egypt, only followers of Sunni Islam, Christianity and Judaism are allowed to build places of worship and publicly practice their religion. In Kuwait, members of non-Abrahamic faiths like Hinduism or Sikhism can practice them in private but face possible prosecution if neighbors complain of disturbance. Hindus and Sikhs of Indian nationality can marry only at the Indian embassy. In Jordan, marriages between Muslim women and non-Muslim men is banned. In the UAE too, a non-Muslim man is not allowed to marry a Muslim woman. Individual freedom to practice religion is granted. There is a functional Hindu temple in Dubai, while a second one is being built in Abu Dhabi. But overall, it isn't easy to get permission to build Hindu temples.
But let me tell you that they are far more modern in these countries, their own countries. You know that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is trying to create a modern version of this, despite being the custodian of the two holy mosques that his father is. So they are trying to bring about a modernity in the religion. There is the reforms, there's everything is taking place in those countries. They move mosques from one place to the another without any problem. Many of the countries have barred more than one marriage. You know, they have brought about reform. Look at Jordan for that matter. But the disrespect to Prophet, disrespect to any religion. I mean, you know, the UAE, for example, we have Prime Minister Modi when he went there. This first time they gave a land for building an Indian temple, Hindu temple. So they are changing. They have a World Tolerance Summit that in UAE they try to do. They brought the Pope there, the Indian saints are there, priests are there. We have in Bahrain a temple which is for more than 200-year-old temple there.
Some Islamic countries from outside the Middle East that criticized India this month have poor track record themselves. Malaysia is considered to be moderately free in terms of religious freedom, and yet non-Muslims must convert to Islam if they wish to marry Muslims. Shia Muslims and Ahmadiyas also face persecution. Maldives too was among the nations that criticized India. But the nation of islands itself allows very limited freedom to religious minorities. Only Muslims can become citizens, and propagating any other religion is a crime. Non-Muslims can't bring religious items like idols and religious books into the country. Finally, it was to be expected, of course, that the Islamic Republic of Pakistan would protest the loudest against the remarks by the BJP members. Violence against minorities is common in Pakistan. A total of 51 people charged under blasphemy laws were murdered by vigilantes before their trials could be completed. Late last year, a Sri Lankan Buddhist working as a factory manager in Sialkot was lynched and burnt alive on charges of blasphemy. There is no doubt that Nupur Sharma's remarks were in appalling taste. She has issued a belated apology. However, Muslims activists citing Gulf countries must note that almost all these nations openly discriminate against minorities. On the other hand, minorities in India enjoy equality in almost all spheres of life. Before they can point fingers at India, countries like Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, and Pakistan must put their own houses in order first. A Times online report.